What's up, YouTube? It's Dear coming to another video, and today I just have a short message that I want to share with y'all. Today I'll be talking about Isaiah 54:17. I'll be coming out of the New International Version, so it'll be easier for me and you to understand, because the King James Version is kind of hard to understand for me, but I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord. So that basically, to me, that means that no matter what you go through, it won't be able to stop you and everything. And so even when it looks like the enemy has you in his grasp, he's really setting you up for a blessing. Sometimes obstacles or challenges can be blessings in disguise. God always has a plan for you. He even sees the things and hears things that we don't. All we have to do is remain steadfast and patient, and God will handle everything for us. Sometimes it's not our battle to fight, but God's. Sometimes God places us in certain places and situations to use you to teach lessons to others without you knowing. It's never to hurt us, but to make us grow stronger physically, mentally, and emotionally. We can overcome anything that comes our way. We just have to trust the process and remember everything happens for a reason and everything is working in our favor. Even when things look or feel bad, we have to fall before we can fly. Sometimes we have to experience things so we know what we really deserve. Sometimes we have to learn our worth. We just have to remain positive and keep our faith. It's just another story to add to your testimony. A few years from now, people will see how you survived things you and others thought you would never make it out of. But the whole time, God was just placing you on the path to greatness. It's okay to cry, it's okay to be sad, but don't let your current situation determine your life. Use it as motivation, not only to follow your dreams, but to walk right into them. When we have dark days, God will become our light. He will also remind us He was our light during our sunny days. Even when it feels like your goals or dreams are far away, with God, all it takes is one step, one change. We never know when God will bless us with a breakthrough, but He's always on time. Sometimes we have to break. It feels like we can be on our last leg, but God will show us that everything was needed so He can bless us. Sometimes I ask myself, why did I let myself get in this current situation? But I really need to ask myself, why am I here? What is God trying to show me or teach me? If I continue to ask myself, why did I let myself get into this situation, I'm going to continue to add guilt or shame to myself, making it hard for me to accept the situation, harder for me to see it from a higher perspective. There are many reasons why we choose what we do, and they are all for our spiritual growth and the growth of the souls from whom we share our lives with. So if you continue to try to see it as you did something wrong, or this is the punishment because of your actions, you will continue to feel that way and create more heartache for yourself. It's only when we accept and surrender that our situation can change. When we bake a cake, we put all the ingredients in a mixing bowl and mix it together, then place it in the oven to cook. Then we set a timer so we won't overcook the cake. Then we can go about our business until it's time to take it out. We don't stand there the whole time asking the oven if it's done. If we do, every time we open it to check it, we're taking heat, causing it to take longer to cook. The same goes with prayer. We have to trust God heard us and put in the work while we wait. It takes faith, patience, devotion, dedication, prayer, and God. Remember, though, we aren't on our time, but God's time. He will never be late, but He's always on time. I'm also learning to surrender and let God and my ancestors in the universe handle things for me. Sometimes we're not only healing for ourselves, but our ancestors as well. Trauma is passed down through the womb, and whatever your great-great-great-grandma had going on, and whatever her daughter all the way down to your mom didn't heal, it now falls on you. So sometimes we can't beat ourselves up for what we go through, but see it as an opportunity to break the cycle. Next time you see yourself in a bad situation, don't panic, but first, think about how you got there. Then pray and ask God to reveal what He wants you to learn from being here. Also, how can you grow from this situation mentally and emotionally? Then remember that even though it feels bad, but good things come out of bad things as well. Nothing can keep you down. No one can stop you from what God has planned for you. The only person that can stop you is you, and that's only when you decide to give up. We have to learn that it's just because things look one way, tomorrow things can be completely different. If we want happiness and success and wealth in our lives, we must first change our mindset and plant those seeds of happiness, success, and wealth. No matter where we are now, we can achieve greatness. A tree starts off as a small seed, but it grows into the tallest things you see on earth. And so can you. I highly advise for my people who are out there who are going through a hard time and having troubles managing your thoughts or want to be more aware of your thoughts. You can start off by getting a journal and you can write about how you feel. Like every time you go through something, instead of getting upset and taking it on somebody else, just sit down with yourself and write about how you feel. Ask yourself, how do you feel? And just allow your heart to speak. And it's more easier to be aware of how you really think. You can sit there and analyze your thoughts and be like, okay, if this is how I feel now. And you can sit there and ask yourself, okay, what can I do to make this better? How can I change the situation? Or like I said earlier, pray and ask what God is trying to reveal to you or what you're trying to teach yourself or learn from yourself. Because I was learning that every relationship or everybody you meet is a reflection of you. So if there's a part of yourself that you need to work on and you're not aware of, like in my last video talk, that a person will reflect what you need to work on or what you don't like, so you can be aware of it. And it may come off as aggravating or like, man, this person is triggering me, but you never know. What you can do can be triggering that person as well. So sometimes we just really have to be aware of our thoughts, because if we sit down and say, okay, I want this and this and this to happen for myself, we just have to plant those seeds. And even though it might not happen right off the bat, we have to realize that it takes time for big things to grow. And sometimes we have to walk a path that we never thought we have to walk just to get to where we want to. For me, I want to be a teacher and go around and teach people and, show people how to heal. But how can I help people heal if I never experienced anything? So I'm starting to learn that I'm grateful for my experiences and what I go through, because it gives me an opportunity to share with other people and how to help them overcome things. And it gives me a thing to talk about for my YouTube channel as well. So as long as we think about, okay, how is this situation helping me? It might seem like it's hurting me, but I know there's a way that it can benefit me and others. So as long as you think about how can you benefit yourself and others, good things will follow. I've been reading this book. It's called The Law of Spirit. I'm currently on I'm on the law of presence, living in the moment. This book has, this book has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It has 12 chapters. This is what the book contains, and this is everything it talks about. So this book has taught me a lot just in a couple of chapters I've read, but the biggest thing pointed out to me, or the biggest thing that got my attention is the book, that everything takes time. If you want to reach a goal, you have to take it step by step. Don't give yourself big steps, because for the example they used, they were crossing a lake, right? But the lake had stepping stones so you can go through. And he was saying that if you take a too big of a step, you're going to slip and fall. But if you take the steps necessary to get to your goal, you will get. As I said that, a fish jumped out the water. That's so cool. But as you take the steps that's necessary to get into your goal, and there's a butterfly. So as you take the steps that's necessary to get into your goal and not overworking yourself, you'll get there. Because you have to remember, it's not about the destination, but the journey we're taking. It's the journey that makes us. So, and if we take too big of a step, we're going to get overwhelmed and we're going to want to give up. But if you take it one step at a time, one day at a time, then everything will start to come together. We have to realize that we can't rush the process. We can't rush our healing process. We can't rush ourselves to get to our dreams and goals, because if we rush ourselves, we might miss something, like baking a cake. If you rush a cake to get baked, it's going to come out all done. As soon as you cut into it, it's going to fall apart. If you rush your foundation to be built, as soon as the first storm comes down, it's gonna fall down. So if you rush yourself to get to your destination, you can be missing key points, key ingredients that you needed to know. So when you do get your blessing, you won't lose it. So sometimes we have to go through hard times. We have to go to struggle so we can see what it's like on both sides. So we know, okay, look, once you get to this point, I know how I felt when I was there. Let me help this person, because you never know, you helping that person, you can go help millions of other people. And especially with the black community, instead of holding people down, we need to be raising people up. So if something worked for you, go share it with someone else. It might not necessarily work for them, but them hearing your advice, something might click for them. Or it might not help to give somebody, a homeless person, a couple dollars, even though if they may use it on beer, use it on whatever. You giving your money is called the law of giving. As long as you give, that's what I learned in this book. This is called the law of 7 spiritual laws of success. And it talks about, hold on. These are the things this book talks about. As you can see, chapter 2 talks about the law of giving, and also chapter 3 talks about the law of karma, cause and effect. I just finished chapter 3, but I'm going to get into it. With this book in chapter 2, the law of giving, I learned that it's necessary to give everywhere you go, even if you don't have much. You can give silently by praying for somebody or giving somebody a compliment, or you can give people gifts, but it doesn't necessarily have to be material gifts, because the gifts that mean the most are not material. It's the gifts that comes from the heart. So as long as you're giving from the heart and you want to make sure that everybody's happy and you're not giving to just satisfy yourself or to give just so you can get something out of it, as long as you give with pure intentions, it will come back to you. So the more you give, it's like the more you receive. So the more you have, the more you can share with others, because it will always come back to you tenfold. And the law of karma, it was saying that this where I got it was saying that here it says, whenever I make a choice, I will ask myself 2 questions. What are the consequences of the choice that I'm making? Will this choice bring fulfillment and happiness? And also to those, will this choice bring fulfillment and happiness to me and also to those who are affected by this choice? And it was saying, then I will ask my heart for guidance and be guided by its message and comfort or discomfort. If the choice feels comfortable, I will plunge ahead. And if the choice feels uncomfortable, I will pause and see the consequences of my actions and with my inner vision. This guidance will enable me to make spontaneously correct choices for myself and those who are around me. So, and it also says that as long as karma is evolutionary for both the self and everyone affected by the self, then the fruit of karma will be happiness and success. So basically, you reap what you sow. And so it also states your soul is a bundle of consciousness that has the seeds of karma, memory, and desire. By becoming conscious of these seeds of manifestation, you become a consciousness generator of reality. By becoming a conscious choice, and it says that you can transmute your karma with a new expression. Okay, so you can basically, like I said, you can ask yourself, what am I going to learn from this experience? What is the message that the universe is giving me? Perhaps the message is that you need to slow down and be more careful or attentive to your body next time. And if your dharma is to teach others what you know by asking them, how can I make this experience useful to my fellow human beings? So sometimes that it's not about, I forgot I was recording. So, sometimes it's not about us. It's about how can we help others. Like I said, sometimes God would use us to teach lessons to other people without us knowing it. So sometimes we go through things not for ourselves but to help others, because God can't come down here physically, but we are in God's reflection. But we have to remember that we are made in God's image, so God can use us to help other people. God can send us messages to help other people overcome things as well, as long as they're open to it. And if they're not open to it or don't want to take your advice, that's okay. You don't have to get upset, because sometimes I don't be open to taking everybody's advice, especially when I'm upset. And that's one thing I have to work on, is being more open to. And we never know that sometimes by taking somebody else's advice or allowing somebody else to help us, that can be the very next thing that we need on our journey, or the next step we need. So sometimes we can't do everything on our own, but sometimes God will send other people to help you. So you have to be able to be open enough to listen and allow people to help us. I know that sometimes we'd be like, man, I've been doing everything on my own for this amount of time, and every time I want to make something happen, I have to do it on my own. I have to make it happen for myself. But sometimes that was just a season that you had to go through, so God can show you that, okay, you don't really need to depend on nobody. If you need something, you can always do it on yourself, on your own. But God, in this season, God can be telling you, hey, all you gotta do is relax. I'm gonna help you. I might not be coming down here physically or handing it to you directly, but I'm going to send somebody else that you need and that can help you for me. So we just have to be open to things like that. And also, we just sometimes we have to get out of nature and things, and we have to meditate. We have to quiet our minds so we can be able to hear ourselves, to hear our true self, because sometimes we're surrounded by so much chaos, so much noise, and that's all we know is chaos and noise. So we have to be able to quiet our mind to hear what we really want and deserve in life. For me, water is very healing. I love to come sit by water, so you just have to find your place of peace for you. It can be the beach, it can be in the middle of the woods, the forest, by a tree, anything. So whatever works for y'all. I hope everybody has a great week and stay safe. And also, thank you for watching my video. Thank you for all the people who support. If you can do me a favor, can you like, share, and subscribe, and share with your family, share with somebody you know who needs this advice. Hopefully that I can grow and become bigger, and I can help many people around the world. So that's my goal. So thank you. I'm finna knock myself. Thank you.